Hey guys, this is Dan with Gears and Gadgets. Thanks for tuning in. So today I'm going to be doing, which I should have done really a long time ago, but I will be doing 5 things that I hate about this 2018 Heritage 114. And you know, I say that I bought this bike, it's almost a year ago. I think 11 months I've had it now, and I've put 7,500 miles on it in that time. And I kind of thought it was a good idea to do this type of video after I've been riding for a while, because, well, some things that you love at first you might grow to hate, and some things that you hate you might come to find really don't bother you all that much. So I'll pull off to the park here real quick, go find a shade tree here. So we'll shut her down for a minute. So some of the things that I brought to mention here, and shout out to SRK Cycles for the post-it note idea. I actually stole that from him. It's a really good idea. These are actually full-size sticky, so the whole back is sticky. It's a great way to make notes for filming stuff when you're out riding. Some of the things that I wish Harley would have done is kind of knock the old off this bike. And what I mean by that is, you know, they did a really good job of trying to kind of, I guess, mix the two of blacked out theme with some LED lights and stuff, but they left the turn signals as regular halogen. I've since converted them over, but they gave these beautiful LED headlights. That's a part of actually what drew me into the bike. I really like that LED look with the headlight and the auxiliary lights. But then they left halogen turn signals, and I don't understand why. I just don't get why they did that. So I've since converted them with custom dynamics LEDs, you know, front and back. And another thing I mentioned was the tail light that came on this thing. I just feel like it looks like it came off a dump truck. And somebody actually commented on one of my videos that said even modern dump trucks have LEDs, and which I thought was kind of funny because it's true. So, you know, that's what I mean by knocking off the old, you know, just convert everything LED. I don't so much mind the chrome exhaust. It's kind of a, you know, something that I can understand some people like that, and I don't think it looks terrible on the bike. But again, just if you're going to give it modern treatment and have a modern bike with a throwback feel, complete the modern part of it. I just feel like they kind of stopped short with some of that stuff, and I don't really know why. You know, like I don't mind this fake drum cover and stuff. That's fine. It gives it kind of that throwback era. I can live with that. But now, part of not minding that fake drum cover is it shouldn't be there, because I do think they should have put 2 brakes, dual disc up front. I don't know why they didn't. And I'll tell you what, in my 7,500 miles of riding, there's been a couple times I've had to get on the brakes pretty good. Not incredibly confident with that front brake. I mean, it's done the job. It stopped me, but I do feel like there could have been a little bit more brake there, especially with ABS, because with ABS, more brake is good. It's not going to lock up on you. So to have more punch on that front end when you go to stop this 728 pound, I think it is, bike, that extra brake sure would be nice, and I really wish they put it up there. Another thing I've been critical of is this fake gas cap, and I'll show you what I mean by fake gas cap if you don't know what I'm talking about. There's nothing there. This is just literally taped on the tank.
That decoration, man. It's just for decoration. It's that woo woo.
And it's meant to appear as if like an oil tank is there, and it's just dumb. And I'll actually get back into that when I get on the bike. And now I can't even get the stupid thing back on. But I think it's kind of hokey. Taping a cap on the tank, just, I don't know. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So that's that. Now, another thing, and John Maxwell just mentioned this, so I kind of wish that they maybe did something different with this bag. And I'll sketch out kind of what I'm talking about, but I wish they would have maybe brought the back down a little bit more, maybe gave a little more to the front, maybe even dropped it down a little bit lower. It's a wide bag, so when you look at it from the back end, you know, it has like a really fat ass, really, but it would just be nice if it had a little bit more depth, I guess. But You know, and if you say, oh, you can't do it because of the exhaust, well, you know, they do it on the street glides and they have the stretch bags, and I certainly think they could have done a little bit better. I mean, I think they could have even brought it closer to the fender, to be honest with you, and gave it a little bit more space. You know, you actually lose a lot of this bag to the inside, which you really can't see here, but you know, when the bag on the inside, it actually kind of cuts in a little bit too, so it's not even as wide as what you can see here. It's probably about here, so it could be bigger. I've done some reviews between this Motherwell rack that I've put on here and the review of the Nelson Rig backpack that I put on the bike, and I did a review of that, the 2 different sizes, and you can get a lot of stuff on these bikes, but again, I just wish the stock bags were a little bigger. I also hate the tour pack. I know John Maxwell has it, but I don't know, I don't like the way it looks on the bike. I think they could have done a better job with the tour pack. So I think just the bag setup, I don't hate these bags, I do just wish they were a little bit larger. So there's that. Now, the number one thing that I hate about this bike, and this is a kind of more recent thing that I've started kind of wondering what the hell they were thinking with this radiator. So you can see here you have an oil cooler which cools the oil flowing through the bike, and it helps keep the bike at a better running temperature. But the problem you have is when you stop moving and no air goes through that oil cooler, the oil cooler is useless. It does no purpose at all. And the time your bike gets the hottest is when it's sitting still. So I for the life of me don't understand why. And it almost sucks now because I feel like it's almost not enough room engineered in here to fit a fan, but why would you not just engineer this with a fan built into it? Maybe adjust how, even if you have to move it forward a half an inch to be able to fit a fan in there so that when you are stationary, it's pulling air through that radiator and subsequently cooling off the motor. You know, I don't get it. You know, we'll hop back on the road here and I'll kind of continue my rant as I'm moving. Take my note off here because kind of done with that. But you know, I understand there's a lot of Harley purists that probably hate that radiator being on there, and I don't know, I'm not a huge fan of purists and refusing to accept change. And you know, engineering is always evolving, and you know, companies are learning new things, and if you can make a better product, then I want to buy a better product. I don't want to buy an inferior product because of the way it was built in the 80s. But you know, so you put that radiator on there, and sure, people are upset about it. People are going to gripe about radiators don't belong on the air-cooled motors, whatever. But you already put the thing on there, so if you're going to put it on there, put a darn fan on it. You know, I remember when I was in my MSF rider course for a couple days here in Arizona, brutally hot, and I was on a Street 500, and that Street 500 had a little radiator on it that had a fan, and I noticed it because it was cooling it off as I was riding, and I was like, wow, that's really cool. So I kind of expected that these new Milwaukee 8s would have something similar to that, and I'm really surprised they don't. Not only do they not, they don't even offer a Harley accessory. It's not even an option to buy it, so I just don't understand that. You know, again, I'm just kind of bitching about this from the standpoint of somebody who is daily commuting on my Harley, and some people would say like, well, you bought the wrong bike, and maybe you're right. You know, maybe I should have bought a liquid cooled motorcycle, and you know, I couldn't afford you know, an Ultra, so you know, maybe I should have bought another brand. Legit, I'm riding here in Arizona, and no secret, it gets pretty hot in the desert. When this bike's moving, it's a joy. It's really a pleasure to ride, but as soon as it stops, you know, I've had my engine temperatures reading on this Dynojet Power Vision well over 300 degrees, which is not good for the bike. And I don't doubt for a second that if there was a fan on that oil cooler, that those temperatures would drop 20-30 degrees, somewhere in that range, just by keeping that oil cooler. So you know, it just kind of sucks because here in Arizona you can't lane split, but so if you get stuck, you're just kind of stuck, and the bike's just kind of in meltdown mode. So you know, there's been one time in particular I had to ride the shoulder and just hope I didn't get pulled over, because I couldn't keep stopping and starting the bike. It wasn't good for it, and I was just kind of stuck. So yeah, I don't know, it's a kind of actually a pretty big gripe that I have, and I think that is a little bit more of like Harley being stuck right now, trying to pander to the Harley purists while still putting out a product that's marketable to, I don't know, people that want better. And it's a really tough act to pull off. So I don't envy them in that position trying to do that, but I think at some point they need to kind of pull the Apple and say, hey, fuck you, no more headphone jack. And you know, everybody's gonna flip out about it for 2 months, and then a couple months later everybody's gonna be like, oh yeah, I kind of forgot about that, and move on. So when you are the pinnacle of brand and you have the ability to kind of just set the new trend, do it. It's just kind of how things work. So if you want to be the best, just do it and be kind of unapologetic about it. So that's kind of my gripe about that aspect of the Heritage, and kind of all the Softail. They're all kind of in the same basket, I guess you'd say. And then back to my gripe about these gas caps. So what really sucks about this fake gas cap is the real gas cap. The actual gas cap is junk, and I say that because you can read a lot of people commenting about these things vibrating, and it does. It'll start to work like a rattle up, and it's just really annoying. So what sucks about this fake cap is now I've got to buy an aftermarket gas cap, and I can't go to like JP Cycles or Revzilla and just buy a regular gas cap for over here of like a whatever, because nobody is making an aftermarket fake gas cap. It's just, so it sucks. So now I have to go to Harley, and the only aftermarket gas caps they have, it's $50 for this one and $50 for that one. Now I just spent $100 because of this stupid fake one. So you know, and you can't remove the fake one because then there's like a little divot in the tank. So without massive body work and repainting the tank, you really are just stuck with what you have. So those are my gripes with, you know, the Heritage, the top 5 things that I hate about it. Now, of course, I'm saying that I love this bike. I don't think that I bought the wrong bike. I enjoy every mile that I put on this bike. Has been fun. I did see in John Maxwell's video today, he pointed out fog in the speedometer, and I have not experienced that. And I can tell you that I have ridden this bike in every single weather condition that anybody on planet Earth would be riding with their motorcycle. I have ridden this thing when it was 114 degrees outside, and I have ridden this thing when it was 32 degrees outside, and everything in between. So if you want to tell me that I just haven't had it in the proper weather conditions, the only thing I'd say that maybe I haven't had it in would be like the moisture of like Portland or something. That's probably the only thing you could say that I haven't you know, experienced. So you know, and I'm not a big fan of riding in the rain anyways, so I can't imagine a whole lot of people are. So that wraps up my top 5 things that I hate about this Harley-Davidson Heritage 114. So guys, again, I appreciate you tuning in. If this is your first time tuning in, please click that subscribe button down below, and remember, likes go a long way to help support the channel. And I am going to now try to navigate my way through this horrendous traffic. So I'll see you next time.